Welcome to Okaloosa Today, local news and information. Connecting the communities of Fulton Beach, Destin, and Okaloosa County.
Hello and welcome to the Okaloosa Today show, which gives you news about Okaloosa County, the city of Destin, and the city of Fort Walton Beach. I'm Kathy Newby, the Public Information Officer for Okaloosa County, and we are going to talk about Okaloosa County and Viva Florida 500 with Vicky Stever, the coordinator for our Okaloosa County Library Cooperative. Welcome, Vicky.
Hi, Kathy.
We are partnering together and working hard to let everybody know that Florida turns 500 in 2013.
Right.
And there's going to be a year-long celebration. And this is a big deal for Okaloosa County. So let's start with it's like I said, it's a year-long statewide celebration and commemoration of Florida's 500th anniversary. The theme is
we want to commemorate and promote and educate everyone, not just in Florida, but around the United States and even the world, let's think big, about the interesting heritage and history of Florida from the time 500 years ago when Ponce de Leon landed here.
So that's why it's so important to our viewers. We really want them to be aware of this. We want them to know that, how they can benefit as a business, as a museum, as a school, as a student. I mean, there's just so many aspects to this. One of them being this really wonderful time capsule that we received. We have all 67 counties in Florida received a time capsule. And Vicky's brought ours today, and we're going to show you, this is it. It's about 24.5 inches high, so it's not huge. And we want the public input on filling this time capsule. This is going to be a really neat event, and then hopefully we can have some event at the end culminating the sealing of this time capsule. So what do you... Talk about this time capsule, Vicki.
Okay.
What, did I miss anything?
Well, the time capsules were provided from the Florida Secretary of State, and they came down to the public library systems in each county because the library is really the community hub there. We're a center for information, we're a place where people get together, and we're just a good starting point to get the populace involved in what's going on. So what we want to do with the time capsule is kind of capture the flavor and the personality that's unique to Okaloosa County. What is it like here today? So that when the time capsule is opened, we'll be able to look back and say, wow, I can't believe they only paid that much for this item, or boy, weren't they really behind the times because they had iPhones and now we have a chip in our head or something like that. But the Time Capsule Committee is comprised of members from the libraries here and also from the museums, and it's open to the public, so anybody else who would like to have some input, join us at the committee meetings and help us decide what's going to go in this time capsule to reflect the character of Okaloosa County.
So you'll be hearing a lot about it, and the character of Okaloosa County is really the focus, and there's a flyer behind Vicki that hopefully you can see. We're going to move that presentation around town and give people an opportunity. We'll probably start with the libraries, having it in there, so when you go to the libraries, you can have some input on what should go in this time capsule, which will not be buried.
Right. We don't bury time capsules. A lot of people haven't seen a real time capsule. I hadn't before we got this one. But the idea of burying a time capsule isn't really true, especially in Florida where we have a high water table.
Right.
Not a good idea. So time capsules that are buried are usually in a cornerstone in a building. But the time capsule will be placed probably inside a building somewhere where it can be on display and be safe from the elements, safe from flooding and hopefully hurricanes until we choose choose to open it back up.
Right, so on display where people can see it. And we have a lot of ideas already. Also, we have a website and a university that can help us, pick and choose and make sure that what we are selecting is okay to go in the time capsule. One of the ideas that we had was perhaps a recipe contest and put a recipe in there. I mean, those are just some of the things that we can do to put in the time capsule. Vicky brought something that we're thinking about putting in the time capsule.
Right.
You want to show our audience?
Sure. When we think about the time capsule, we think often about pieces of paper or photographs, and those really are things that lend themselves to it. But you can also have 3D objects or real things, and this is cotton that I picked out by Baker. And that can be dried gently in an oven and then packaged and preserved and placed in the time capsule, along with a photograph of where the cotton was picked in our county. The Time Capsule Committee has decided to have the capsule opened about 32 years from now, when Florida celebrates its 200th statehood anniversary. So in 32 years, will we still have cotton fields in the north part of the county? We don't really know. So that's an interesting thing that we can document and put in there. So 3D objects can add some interest there. We're hoping
will
that
we have CDs? Will we have memory sticks?
Exactly.
Or will they even be able to read them? So all of those things are issues that we will be discussing in the next year as we decide what goes in here. So very exciting for Okaloosa County. We're going to talk about 3 things today. We're going to talk about the next exit history. We're going to talk about FloridaMemory.com with photos, and we're going to talk about Floor 500. And we're going to start with next exit history. But before we start, I do want to mention that, of course, Viva Florida 500 does have a website, and the really neat thing about this is that we can promote ourselves more so than ever before through the state at a nationwide level and even beyond. Nobody else can say right now that they're having their 500th anniversary. So a great opportunity for all of us in this county, and the state is going, and Visit Florida is really partnering with the counties to do this and to promote ourselves, educate, and commemorate. So a lot involved and a big opportunity for us. But let's talk about next exit history, because a lot of this stuff is going online. You can access it from your phone. I mean, it is going to be a very, very technical, digital type of promotion all year.
Right. Next Exit History was a project from the University of West Florida. There's a website, nextexithistory.com, but they have developed a mobile app that works on smartphones, and it was wrapped around the idea that you're driving through an area, and if you only knew what was off at the next exit, you might get off and see that state park or historical site or museum. So we have the opportunity to add items from our county to that database, so that as you're driving along in your car and you've got that on your phone, it triangulates you with your GPS location and starts showing you points on a map that you might want to stop and get off and enjoy.
Which a lot of them are already on there.
Right.
From Okaloosa County.
When it was developed, when the application was developed, it was pre-populated with the markers from the historical marker database and also from the state parks. So those are automatically on there, and then some state sites, I think, that came down from the state archives are also loaded in there already. But there are plenty more things in our county that we'd love to let people know about, and not just people traveling through, but those of us who live here that maybe overlook some of the really interesting and unique cultural things that we have.
And one way to do that, because we want to assist you in doing that, is the best, easiest way is we in Okaloosa County have developed our own Facebook page. It is called Okaloosa Viva Florida 500, just all spelled out, nice and simple. And you can post stuff on that on our Facebook page, and then we will, Vicky and I will pull it from there and make sure it gets on that website. And of course, the website for Viva Florida at the state level is VivaFlorida.org.
Right, VivaFlorida.org. And we want to mention that on VivaFlorida.org there's going to be an interactive events calendar. So if you have an activity that's going on, and we really want to emphasize, let's promote the things that we already have and that we already do. You don't have to develop something new.
Right.
but you can put your event on there. So if you have a Heritage Trail Festival, if you have a Mullet Festival, if you have a museum festival, that's a great thing to put on there. Or even from a library viewpoint, if we're having educational programs and bringing in speakers about the history of Florida, or one of the libraries has Spanish classes, that's a heritage language of Florida. So that has a tie-in. So think with an open mind about the things that you have and do that could be included on this calendar.
Right, and don't forget about our natural areas that you mentioned, Vicki, because we have so many beautiful water-related parks, water-related activities. One group is taking a riding stand-up paddles from Escambia County to Apalachicola. That is on the website. So you're not limited. You can certainly create your event. You can make sure you mention some of these beautiful natural parks that we have, Turkey Creek and Nice Filament. We could just go on and on and on about some of our parks, but we want to make sure that people know to get to those. So again, just really showing those out of the way places that everybody might not know about. This is a great opportunity to do that. But let's move on. We're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about next? FloridaMemory.com.
Right.
Because I think that it's really a great opportunity to download old Florida pictures, old Florida video, postcards from the 1950s and earlier. So really neat library that they have that they are offering free access to during this year.
Right. The Florida Memory is a digitization project of the Florida State Archives. And of course, photographs, documents, again, that's what we think of. But they've also digitized sound and video files. So like this CD here that you can get has folk songs that are performed, back in time there. And so they'll have audio clips on there too. You can download and use as you wish. You can get a physical product like this from the State Archives for free of charge. That's part of what they do. So think about how, if you're a teacher in your classroom, you might be able to listen to some of this authentic Florida music and look at pictures of the time in which these things were done. If you look on our Okaloosa Viva Florida 500 Facebook page, we have some old photographs on there that show, for example, sugarcane being grown in this area. And that's something that I didn't know we did. Right. So it's a great learning experience for schools, for scout groups, for individuals, for families. If you homeschool, what a great resource. But even in your business, it would be interesting to show maybe photos of the area back in the day and now, and kind of the historical context of where you are in the culture of our area.
And I think it would be neat to, especially some of the older hotels I saw, if they're still around, they could put, a historical photo of their hotel perhaps in an ad and what it looks like now, or on a rack card or something like that. So a lot of opportunities with this. Definitely you covered the educate part, and I'm glad you did that, Vicki. And we also have Floor 500.
Right. This is another partner event going along with Viva Florida 500. This came from Florida International University down in Miami, and what I'm showing you here is a picture of packet of wildflower seeds, one of the native varieties here to the state of Florida. Floor 500 is a participatory art project. It's a way for people to become involved in celebrating the horticultural heritage of our state. So this ambitious project wants to identify 500 native Florida plants, have them depicted by 500 Florida artists, have 500 public gardens that are growing Florida wildflowers in them, and each garden would be dedicated to a historic Florida figure. So how can we be involved? Well, you can apply to be one of the public garden sites, and the Dogwood Garden Club in Crestview, in fact, has already done that to apply to be a site. They're going to rework their park on Highway 85 in honor of the Viva Florida event, and so it will incorporate some of the Florida wildflowers in it. And there's also a component of this called the Flower Force, where just individuals can choose to grow Florida wildflowers at their homes and dedicate them to a person who has been influential to them in Florida, and then they can post that on the website as well.
So many opportunities with this, and again for the schools or master gardeners or gardening clubs out there to get involved, and it's good that we've already gotten one on board. you know, I wanted to talk about too Eglin. I mean, Eglin, the military history, I don't want to forget that. That is a huge part of Okaloosa County history. There are lots of pictures on Eglin in floridamemory.com as well. So I did want to mention that and not skip over that.
Right. You know, we really want to capture all the different components that are the essence of Okaloosa County, and there are many of them.
And we talked about, you know, scavenger hunts, and, you know, so still lots of opportunities to be discussed, and there'll be meetings in the community. Again, check our Facebook page. We're going to be posting those meetings, posting information on that. We'll be pulling your information from that, so I can't mention that enough. That's a good avenue to do that. And again, don't forget those nature trails and waterways.
Right, and we do want to emphasize this is a grassroots effort. It's no one's job to do Viva Florida. From the state on down, they're providing the information, they're giving us some things to jumpstart us. We've got partner organizations, but it's all about commemorating and celebrating for an entire year in the way that speaks to us and the way that we want to showcase where we live and who we are to the rest of the world.
And what do you have some other ideas for the time capsule that you wanted to discuss, Vicky, that have been mentioned in some of those meetings?
One of the things that we want to do is get input from folks who are not on our time capsule committee, obviously, and so we do have this rotating display that's behind me that will be at different locations, at libraries, museums, tourist centers, all sorts of places, with little ballots in it so that the public can fill out when they would like, what they think should be in the time capsule and why. But some of the suggestions are perhaps a paper menu from a restaurant, especially
bumper stickers.
Yes, bumper stickers, things that show the culture, what was funny now, or what did food cost, receipts of things that you bought. Things that don't seem to work will be technology-based things. If we put a CD in this time capsule, in 32 years, will there be anything that can play that CD or read that kind of software? Probably not. Same thing, we talk about, oh, well, we could put an MP3 player in there with a memory stick, but batteries won't last for 32 years, and again, we don't know if those kind of things will work. So focusing more on pictures, documents, things that can be captured on paper would be the best.
Okay, and again, look for more information on that. Is there anything that we missed? We talked about Florida 500, FloridaMemories.com. We talked about Next Exit History and the time capsule, which is the new part. Again, don't forget that you can use existing events, our parks that we already have, our museums that we already have. So a lot of this is promoting what we already have at a whole new level for a whole year.
That's right, and we do want
Simply
suggestions from people on where they think we should put the time capsule. We haven't decided on that yet. We are discussing the Shalimar Courthouse Annex as it's being renovated. That might be a great time to build a little cubby in a wall with a glass front on it and let it reside safely there. And also as to what sort of events we should have when we seal this capsule and when. There's been some talk of maybe having a heritage ball at the end of 2013. Maybe even have costumes, you know, to represent different periods in Florida history. So lots of ideas out there, but we really need your ideas to make it truly a part of our Okaloosa celebration.
So engage with us on Facebook. That'll be a great way to do that.
Pinterest, if you are a Pinterest fanatic, then we have a Pinterest account.
And our display that's going to be traveling around. Well, that pretty much covers Viva Florida 500. I want to thank Vicky for being here. I'm going to do a very short wrap up of our year 2012 as we move into 2013. We have 2 new commissioners. They were sworn in recently. District 5 Commissioner Kelly Wines and District 3 Commissioner Nathan Boyle, so we want to welcome them and make them feel welcome. I also want to remind everyone that it will be easier than ever before to connect with Okaloosa County in 2013. Our meetings now are live streaming and have been for a while, but now they can be viewed online and on this Cox channel. But we've also gone digital with all of our meetings information, so now you can actually get all the information of everything that's going to be discussed at an upcoming meeting online when you just visit OkaloosaFL.com and view County Commission meetings for all the details. This actually saves you time, it saves on public information requests, on staff time, on paper, it saves money, it gives you access. So please engage with us in 2013 and in a lot of different ways and opportunities available. You can view the details and email the commissioners about issues that impact you. So I will see you next year. Coming up next is the City of Destin and Doug Rayner.